Fellas, welcome. It's day two of the NBA season. We got a real slate today, 12 games. I hope you guys had a good time with Nick and Jayhawk yesterday for the opening night two gamer. We actually had one of our members, Cal, take down the nighttime showdown, chopped it for 12K plus. So shout out to you, Cal. I had a bunch of member screenshots last night, so it sounds like it was a good opening day. Let's keep it rolling tonight. I'm Chuck Silver. This is Smitty. We're here with Occupy Fantasy. Smitty, how you doing, man? How was the off season?
It was great, man. Good to see all these members posting their screenshots, getting their wins, and shout out to Cal on that win as well. It's a good way to start the season.
Yeah, Cal's been a member for a while, and he seems to have a big takedown at least once or twice a season. So shout out to him. We crushed preseason. If you guys weren't here for it, we will be back next year, I'm sure, and we will keep crushing. I want to say Smitty was probably the actual number one biggest crusher of NBA preseason. So shout out to Smitty. We got Luke, the Prince, Heath, David, ZH, my man. HB Cards, good to see you here, man. HB Cards was with us for preseason. He had a
He was a
takedown
big
too.
helper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Shout out to you for all the news help, man. We really appreciate it. Jayhawk in the chat, good to see you. Ben Jeezy, Unicorn Love, and Jose coming out hot with the questions. Can we give you the best punt options in the model that's not PJ Washington? Yeah, so let's start with that. PJ Washington, DraftKings messed up. He's the minimum price. He was a minimum price all preseason, and it's weird that they never adjusted him because, I mean, we're kind of expecting him to start tonight since we know that Cooper Flag is starting at point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I expect him to start. And then they have like some dumb quote on there that's not correct. And I'm guessing that's why, saying that they got Cooper Flag in and they just don't expect him to get very many minutes. So his price should change after this game, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see how that looks. But as for PJ Washington, yeah, projected for 55% ownership at 3K. DK value is off the charts. I mean, Smitty, it's a 12 game slate. How much PJ Washington are we playing on DraftKings?
I think it's pretty wise just to lock him in. Like if he's only 55% owned, which in higher stake stuff, he's probably, or smaller field, he's probably around 70-80% owned. I would say just get the leg up on 20% of the field that don't play him. In large field, where you think he might be 50%, I would say you're wrong if you don't go 100% and just get that 50% leverage. So personally, it's a play I'm locking. If he gets you 15, he's 3K and he's small forward, power forward. He's probably still going to be in the winning lineup.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if he has a bad game, just the power of that 3K today, and it's not like we're guessing on other punts. Like that's what makes him stand out. Like there's other cheap guys we might be a little bit interested in, but it's just really hard to see him failing. So I'm also locking him over on DraftKings. FanDuel's a different story with PJ because he's actually priced like he's supposed to be, and he's only 1% owned over there. I will say the 32 minutes sounds kind of high, but at 3K it doesn't make enough of a difference. Who are you looking at beyond PJ Washington?
As far as value,
Yeah, some value guys,
uh,
maybe some punts.
yeah, VJ Edgecombe, he's kind of in the mid range somewhat, but I would still consider him a value. I think he looks pretty solid. Trey Jones looks like a pretty good value. He's one of the top in the model. Landell still going to be the starting center. I think he's fine to go to. Kalkbrenner is another value that I'm getting to a little bit. I kind of expect Diabate to start, but I still think Kalkbrenner could pay off his price at 3,200 on DraftKings. And then you have Walter Clayton that has looked pretty good all preseason. He's going to play pretty solid minutes. He's also min price, so there's kind of a lot of cheap plays that you can mix around and uh, pretty much just jam the stud. So seems like a stars and scrubs slate.
Yeah, the top of this list seems pretty good to me. Trey Jones, VJ Edgecombe's going to be popular. I'll mention we do have VJ for 32 minutes. I mean, just first reaction, it sounds kind of healthy to me. They have a lot of players who probably deserve some playing time over there, but even if he plays a few minutes less than 32, VJ Edgecombe's only 4,600 on FanDuel. He's going to be one of the top values there, and 5K on DraftKings is still fine. And then, I mean, Zaire Williams, we just got news that Ariel Hukporti is starting in place of Mitchell Robinson for New York. They said that Cat is playing, barring unforeseen circumstances. So And yeah, Brian Kalkbrenner, he shows up great on the model at 19 minutes. And so if he plays 19 minutes, he's going to look like a great value. If he plays any more, it's even better. I worry that he's going to get steamed up a little bit, though, because I've heard his name being thrown around today, especially if he ends up starting, then his ownership is probably going to come up some.
Yep.
We just got word, I guess a few minutes ago, that Jalen Brown's a game time decision. So we'll see what we do with the Celtics in that case, and we're gonna go position by position because we don't have enough time to go team by team today. So if there's like a specific team you'd like us to go a little bit more in depth on, or someone you want to know about that we're not bringing up, go ahead and throw that in the chat. We're here for you guys. So, and do we have a minutes projection for Flag? Yeah, let me get that for you before we dive in here. Flag is a second highest owned guy over on FanDuel. The 6K price is incorrect. We haven't projected for 33.7. How do you feel about that, Smitty? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I would say in that 32, 33 range is probably pretty good.
Yeah, it's oh man, Flag's a weird one. Being 37% owned on FanDuel, are you getting there at the 6K price?
I am on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I really don't love it, but I mean, he's cheap. He fills a pretty tough position, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's on like the initial runs, he was shown up as one of my highest owned players. Same with Dante DiVincenzo. Now that he's starting at 4,500 on FanDuel, he's going to be a top option. He is a point guard. Did you find that point guard was pretty easy to fill, but shooting guard wasn't as easy today?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Shooting guard mainly for me was VJ Edgecombe. He
Yeah.
fills up the majority of mine, and then it's kind of just a lot of punt plays. I don't really have anyone at the high end of pricing.
Yeah, same for me on DraftKings. VJ Edgecombe at a shooting guard. I'm taking shots on Cam Thomas. And then over on FanDuel, yeah, kind of the same thing, but add Dante DiVincenzo in there. We're getting some Grayson Allen, Cam Thomas again. But I mentioned that because players like this, like Dante, like Anthony Edwards, that have eligibility to play shooting guard, I really think you want to just get them in at shooting guard if you can, because shooting guard's kind of tough today, whereas point guards, I feel like we have a lot of solid plays. So who are your top point guard plays overall?
Yeah, on DraftKings specifically, it's Cade. Well, even on FanDuel too for him. I think he's at the high end of pricing. He's my favorite point guard. Followed by I'm getting quite a bit of Clayton, which I think, like you said, he's better to play at shooting guard.
Mhm.
Little bit of Giddy. I like Jaw quite a bit. I think Jaw's a pretty good play today. I like this matchup for him. Derek White, if Brown's out, even better. But even with Brown in, I think he's a pretty good play.
Yep, I'm on board with all of that. This is sorted by DraftKings ownership right now. We have Ant at the top, and he's questionable, but we have pretty high confidence that he's not missing opening night. He's made comments like that he's going to play today. He is projected for some healthy ownership, but he just really stands out at a kind of a weak shooting guard position. So I really think we want to just play him at shooting guard. But I love I love Jalen Brunson today. I don't love that his ownership is as high as it is, but I think this is a little bit of a misprice. Cleveland's a tough defense, so I'm actually not even over this 23 and 29%. I think it's pretty high, but Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham, I think at the top end are going to be my top two pay ups at point guard.
Yeah, I like that. Did you have any? Did you like Maxi at all?
Maxi, I'm
Yeah,
getting there on FanDuel. I'm not making that many lineups on DraftKings today, just 40, I think. And so I did not get there at all in my DraftKings set. But on FanDuel, I'm making a full set of lineups, and it looks like I have about 8%. So what is Maxi projected for ownership wise? 0 and 1. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
like nothing.
That's all right. So he's 8,900 on DraftKings. This is sorted by OF Index right now, too. So Cade Cunningham is very clearly the top pay up point guard by quite a bit, and that his value is so high. Like that's great. That's huge. We saw this with guys like SGA, Jokic, Giannis. When their value is at the top of the list and they're at the top of OF index, I think we should be really interested in these guys. Now there's a lot of pay up, so it's harder to get way over this 12 and 9%. But with Tyrese Maxey, 1% owned at 8,200 on FanDuel is kind of a mistake. Like we could play like 5-6% and be well over the field. So I like that call too.
Yeah, pretty interested there.
How do you feel about? Did you mention James Harden?
No, I didn't. I think he's fine. He's not really a priority for me. Like I'd rather just find the 800 and play Cade on DraftKings. FanDuel 8,300 seems pretty good. You have to compare him to Maxi, and I think him 22% and Maxi 1% is probably wrong, and the model thinks so too. But I do like getting to some Harden.
Yeah, and if you're new to watching our streams, the model, you might notice it's not traditional projections. OF index is a metric designed to kind of evaluate, I don't want to say the ceiling of a player, but we use this to help us in high risk contests. DK value, FD value is the points per dollar metric. And unlike NFL, OF index is not influenced by salary. So let's uncheck this for a second. Like for example, who's kind of cheap here? Like Jalen Duren has a 12.2 OF index. This is not influenced by the 7,700. So the model is telling us that Jalen Duren straight up is a better, uh, you know, I don't want to say better, but has higher potential than all of these guys down here. That's not to say that these guys aren't poor plays, but just like Michael Porter is a good example. 6,700 on DK, 10.8 OF index. He's one of the top plays on the slate today at the price. And so just so you guys are aware if you're new to the stream. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey at 1% versus James Harden at 22%. I do have a healthy amount of James Harden on FanDuel. It looks like most of it's going to be at the shooting guard position. And I'm well over the field on Tyrese Maxey. John Morant, 19% at 8,300 sounds pretty good to me too. Are you willing to take that risk on DraftKings?
Yes, I am. I think Jaw looks like one of the better pay up to be contrarian plays on DraftKings. Seems pretty good there. There's kind of some minutes uncertainty, but then again, he has nobody behind him. So I think if he can run, they just let him run. A good matchup against the Pelicans. I think this game overall looks pretty good.
Nice. I like it. Um, What about more in the mid range? Peyton Pritchard is kind of mispriced over on FanDuel at 5,500. I think this, so point guard is a pretty valuable position today because the payups are actually good. Like Cade Cunningham, Tyrese, Jaw, Derek White, LaMelo. And so there is some opportunity cost to playing Peyton Pritchard at 5,500, but we can get him at the shooting guard spot too. And this 13% just seems very low to me. So it's not too hard to get over 13. That's a spot that I'd like to target as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think he looks pretty good as well. We don't really know what their starting lineup is going to be, but whether he plays off the bench or he starts, he's still going to see pretty good minutes. So I like taking shots there.
DeAndre Hunter just got ruled out, so we'll see what Cleveland ends up doing. Is that the first game? Are we going to get news?
Yeah, they'll probably start Dean Wade. I think
Okay.
they'll need him for Brunson.
Yeah, we'll take a closer look at Cleveland in a moment. Is there anyone else you want to mention at point guard? Any more punts or anything like that?
Yeah, I do kind of on FanDuel. I think Drew Holiday's in play. Like you said, point guard is kind of a tough position, or like you're kind of losing a lot when you roster one of these guys. But Drew, they've shown that they're willing to play in big minutes. So I kind of think we could see him play pretty solid minutes, and he just does a little bit of everything. So kind of like getting to some Drew Holiday.
Yeah, model approved too at a 2% own on FanDuel 5,400. He's a great play, at 5,400, but just a matter of what you're giving up to play him, which is
Yeah,
a valuable point guard position. Kevin Porter Jr., I think this is a guy we can consider for high risk. I guess he's already pretty owned on FanDuel, 18%. But 5,600, we haven't projected for 28 minutes. If he's the starting point guard there and he gets that 30 minutes, we know him to be a high fantasy point per minute guy. So he could be worth some looks. And I want to mention Colin Sexton. He's pretty high on FanDuel value, projected for 0% ownership, 1% on DraftKings at 53 and 5,200. I'm okay with that. And Dante DiVincenzo at 4,500 on FanDuel is probably the easy, cheap shooting guard to plug in.
yeah, yeah. I like all of those.
And last couple guys I just want to throw out there. Josh Giddey seems great. Scotty Barnes seems great. And, in what seems like a pretty good game against Atlanta. And I want to mention Shaden Sharp. The 7,900 on DraftKings, it's a little bit harder to get to. He is shooting guard eligible, projected for 0% ownership. I think that's more of a night slate play for me, but the 6,700 on FanDuel is one of the misprices that stands out to me today. And projected for only 7% ownership, we can play him at that shooting guard spot. That's a spot I'd like to get over the field on.
Yeah, I agree there.
All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Power, what's up, dude? Good to see you. 9 to 5 sports. Any thoughts on Sensabaugh being a good pivot off Clayton. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. Same team, and we don't know exactly what the rotation is going to be with Sensabaugh pulling some ownership. What do you think about that, Smitty?
Yeah, I agree. Bryce is a dude that's gonna come off the bench, and he's just there to score. So I don't mind taking shots there.
Yeah, Walter Clayton's the min price on DraftKings, projected for 18% ownership, but Bryce Sensabaugh is 3,700, projected for 9%. They both have shooting guard eligibility, so that's pretty good. And the model is actually telling us that Bryce Sensabaugh is the pivot off of Walter Clayton, that he's a better play on DraftKings anyway. So I think we can go there. Appreciate you being in the chat, Eric. We'll hear more from you soon. Do we know if Merrill is going to start for Cleveland? I think they're going to go with Merrill, Donovan Mitchell. Smitty said Dean Wade probably for DeAndre Hunter, and then the two bigs.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Lonzo starting in there. I didn't mention Lonzo. I was interested in him before I built anything. I don't know that we can get to him tonight, but this guy has some potential while Darius Garland's out. If he was like 1,000 cheaper, then we'd be interested tonight. I don't know that we can get there, but um, he has a pretty good opportunity in Cleveland.
yep.
Barry, good to see you. Yep, love MPJ tonight. Him and Booker are two of my faves. We'll talk about Booker in a second when we get into the shooting guards. Oh, Jalen Tyson as well. Is he shooting guard eligible? Yeah, Jalen Tyson is a shooting guard small forward eligible, 32 and 3,600. He could potentially get the start at the three. I'm not sure if they're going to do that alongside Merrill, but he's projected for 9% on DraftKings already. We'll keep an eye on that. Taking PJ over MPJ, you can play both. Minutes projection for Najee. Let's pull that up real quick, and then we'll get into shooting guards. Najee is a shooting guard, projected for 22. Is that how's that sound to you, Najee Marshall for 22 minutes? Pulling 10% ownership on DK. And Gary Trent, Grayson Allen. I think the model has Grayson Allen. But who are your top shooting guard plays overall?
Let's see. Shooting guard for me, VJ Edgecombe, I think looks really good on DraftKings. Let me pull up
Mhm.
FanDuel. DraftKings, it's VJ Edgecombe. Getting quite a bit of Mikal Bridges as well. Just his price, shooting guard's not great. And then Walter Clayton, just kind of the pay down. A little bit of Keontae George. I do have a little bit of Bryce Sensabaugh as well, so I do think he's playable on DraftKings. Desmond Bain's kind of in a weird price zone, but I do think he's a pretty decent play at 7,100 on DraftKings. And then still getting to a little bit of DiVincenzo on DraftKings as well.
Okay, nice. I don't think I reran with the DiVincenzo stuff, so I don't have him in there, but I have all those other guys that you mentioned. Not really paying up at shooting guard on DraftKings, though, only for Devin Booker. I didn't even end up getting to Anthony Edwards over here,
I
but
didn't either.
okay, all right, feel a little bit better about that. There's a lot of pivots, and he was actually a little bit lower on the model compared to some of the guys that we can get. I mean, Josh Giddey's also shooting guard eligible. KPJ shooting guard eligible. Yeah, Peyton Pritchard's probably going to be a pretty decent shot too at 5,500 on DK. What about players like Ace Bailey, Jalen Wells? I'll throw Emmanuel quickly and Jordan Poole in there, like kind of in that 6 to 7K range. Or I guess Ace Bailey's kind of cheap, but
Not really getting to any of them.
okay,
Yeah, I'm not really getting there personally. I think they're okay.
okay. Yeah, VJ Edgecombe, top value on the model. He's going to look pretty good. I'd expect him to come in a little bit higher owned than this. It seems like he's probably going to get steamed up, but I think he's okay. And then Quentin Grimes is probably a pretty great pivot off of him if you can find the salary. DK may be close to unplayable, but FanDuel 4,500 doesn't seem too bad. KCP. So you'll see guys
Yeah,
like
that
this
DK
pop up
price
near
is
the
wild.
top of the model. For who?
For Grimes.
Yeah, we're not considering that, but this is FanDuel 4,500 at 9%. I'm sorry, seems not bad. It's pretty interesting to see the top FanDuel values are largely single-digit ownership. Gary Trent, Kelly Oubre, Ace Bailey, Drew Holiday, Con Knipple, AJ Green, Keon Ellis, Brandon Miller. So I don't think you have to try to get different. If you're just following the model, just play what the model is telling you, and that's probably pretty good even in large fields today.
Yeah, I agree.
Terrence Shannon. I wasn't really looking at Terrence Shannon. It's tough for him to hit that ceiling if Anthony Edwards is in, right?
Yeah.
On the night slate, I haven't built my night slate lineups yet, so maybe this 3600 is really useful for that. But on the main slate, I don't think I'd consider him. Any other shooting guards you want to mention?
I do want to mention Devin Booker. On FanDuel, he's $300 less than Anthony Edwards, and his OF index is a little bit higher, and he's half the ownership. I think he's a pretty good play. And then Brandon Miller as well at 1% on both sites. I think he's someone we want to be overweight on.
Yeah, I like that the model's giving us that Devin Booker pivot. Ant doesn't have a tough matchup in Portland. I will mention Portland has the best defensive player in the NBA, Tumani Kamara. True story. And Devin Booker has a really, really great matchup against like probably this is like I've been joking. This is one of the worst rosters ever assembled, the Sacramento Kings this year. And so Devin Booker's team is not good, but he'll have all the usage, and the model's telling us we can take that pivot. So we like that. Brandon Miller up here actually too at 1%. Third overall OF index as a shooting guard. Model saying that he's a better play than Anthony Edwards. And remember, it's not considering the price difference. So Brandon Miller's probably worth some good shots tonight. RJ Barrett. I mentioned Shaden Sharp on FanDuel. Sounds great. And Dyson Daniels, the guy who seems to always break my heart when I want to get over the field, but I'm going to try to get him in there too. Why is no one talking about Zubac? Is there a downside to him? You have anything on that, Smitty?
He's just kind of priced appropriately when we have a lot of underpriced players, so it's not really my priority at all.
Yeah, I think beyond that too, like the arrival of Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez isn't a slouch like whoever was backing up Zubac last season. Brook Lopez can come in and like I could see him closing games over Zubac. So Zubac is not as clear of a play I think as he was last year.
Yeah.
At the small forward position, so Jalen Brown is questionable. He is the top play by quite a bit in OF index, but after him, we got great options in Scotty Barnes, Denny Avdia, Kawhi, even Franz Wagner. Sar Thompson being up here is kind of interesting. We'll talk about that. But Brandon Ingram seems great. Jalen Johnson's expensive, but people are still getting there. And Cooper Flag, yeah, he's actually showing up pretty good for overall OF index. So, Smitty, what are you seeing at small forward?
Yeah, I like all those options. DraftKings, I'm getting to some PJ Washington in the small forward, getting him to him more at power forward though. But I think small forward, I think he's in play. Zaire Williams is another pay down that I'm okay getting to. Not someone I want to go crazy with, but shows up for pretty decent value. Getting to some OG, assuming he plays, and then even Edgecombe there. But at the high end, assuming Brown plays, he's okay. My favorite options at the high end are probably going to be Jalen Johnson, I would say. But
Yeah, I'm with you on Jalen Johnson, especially on FanDuel at 8,200 and projected for only 12% ownership. Like this guy was crushing last year before he got hurt. And I mentioned this in the Discord earlier. Early in the season, if you're looking at players, ask yourself, is this player going to be higher priced or lower priced as the season goes on? And Jalen Johnson's going to be higher than 8,200. Um, you know, pretty soon here. So I like getting over the field on that. As for value on FanDuel, it's going to be VJ Edgecombe and small forward again. Asar, I mean, he's showing up. He's only 5,400 on FanDuel. Uh, I don't know. Did you mention Asar?
I didn't. I do think he's okay on FanDuel. The minutes are going to be there. I think they're going to play him pretty decent minutes this year, but it's also, can he stay out of foul trouble to get those minutes? But this is a pretty good game environment. If you're not going to Cade, it's another way to get a piece of that. But even if you have Cade, Asar's fine. They don't do the same thing. So he's someone I'm fine with on FanDuel. DraftKings, pretty hard to get to.
It's something about Chicago wants to play faster this year, and so I don't really expect models and books to adjust to that right away. So maybe that's something we can take advantage of for a couple games. Give just a slight boost to Detroit, thinking that the pace is going to be up.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre, 1% ownership, 0% ownership. He's probably worth some shots. I don't know that I'll get there on a 12 gamer, but guys like him, Zachary Rissochet, Yeah, Conk and Nipple. It's going to be hard to get to them. What about Sam Hauser projected for 1%, 4,300 on FanDuel with or without Jalen Brown?
Not too much interest. He just has to score a lot to pay off that tag. Maybe if it was a smaller slate, I'd have more interest.
Okay. I mean, Denny, he's kind of a pay up. He's showing up pretty good for FanDuel value as well. I'd be interested in Duncan Robinson if he was a little cheaper, maybe at the 4K on FanDuel. In my 150 set, he makes it into a lineup or two. And DK value, yeah, just going to be PJ Washington, Zaire Williams, Jalen Tyson is looking good now. Yeah, this is after the DeAndre Hunter news, and Jalen Tyson shot up the value board, so we can definitely consider him now.
Yeah, I need to refresh.
All right, let's get to some power forwards and thoughts on the John Collins Harden stack. I don't think I really care about correlation at all today. There's too many games, and there's a lot of unknowns being the beginning of a season. And so if you're playing maybe like smaller field stuff, I don't know. I don't really worry about those types of correlations. I think they're fine players to have in a lineup together. Do you think any differently, Smitty?
No, I think it's fine.
So once again, PJ Washington and top value on DraftKings. Our boy MPJ projected for 3% ownership. I love it when I look at the slate and I love a player and I open up the model and the model is an agreement and we're getting him at like basically no ownership. He's only 6,400 on FanDuel. This is a player that I'm going to take some heavy shots. And when I say heavy shots, he's only projected for 3 and 4% ownership. If I have like 15% of him in my set, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I think he looks like a good play today. They pretty much have nobody else, so he's just going to be asked to shoot the ball.
Yeah, like he's been restricted having to play in, system basketball in Denver for the last few years. He can't piss Jokic off. He's free to do whatever he wants. If you guys have been paying attention in the offseason, he's really been free to do whatever he wants. Shout out to the Nuggets PR team for keeping all that under wraps. But I guess we didn't mention Cam Thomas too much. I know I said his name earlier, but I think he's a pretty good play too. I would have been more interested in him though if, for example, MPJ was higher owned and I could get to Cam Thomas as a little bit of a pivot. But I think MPJ is going to be one of my top like tournament plays today. Especially, I mean, OG, yeah, he's a little bit cheaper on DK, but this ownership for OG is a little bit healthy, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too high. Like we have other guys at the position even that are good pivots. For one for me is Matas. I like getting Matas. MPJ's even a pivot to OG. So just kind of even guys in his range make sense. Tobias Harris, I think, is in play as well as a pivot.
Yep, I mentioned Tumani Kamara. I don't know how much interest I have in him on the main slate, but I think this is the prime time showdown on DraftKings, and so I'll be interested in him there. And I got to him in my night slate dummy as well. Laurie Markkinen at 68 and 6,200. I'm very interested in this here. Did we have news if Ace Bailey was still questionable or if he's for sure in?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay, I think he was questionable earlier. Maybe I'm mistaken, but should Ace miss? And even if Ace is in, honestly, like Laurie Markkinen at 1%, I know he was awful last year, but he's still a good player. He showed us a little bit in preseason that at least he's somewhat healthy. We have him projected for 31 minutes. He deserves more than 1% on FanDuel at 6,200 at least.
Yep.
Who else were you looking at a power forward?
At the value end, I think even going to Dylan Brooks at 4,700 on FanDuel, 5%. That's when you want to play someone like Dylan Brooks. He's going to shoot. Like he's probably their second or third option on the team behind Booker. So I think Dylan Brooks makes a little bit of sense. Kaishawn George kind of showed growth, I guess you could say, in the preseason. So kind of interested to see if that carries over. I think he's in play at least at 0% ownership. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Larry Nance, I think, is at least worth a mention now that we have some Cleveland bodies out. Well, DeAndre Hunter, I don't know if it boosts Nance at all, but I think he's at least in play.
I'm on board with all of it. And at the top end, Giannis. What were you doing with Giannis?
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of Giannis. I think he's one of the better spins on the slate. He did get downgraded to probable, so with the Bucks injury reporting, it's definitely worth monitoring. But I think he should play here. I like getting Giannis. I think he's good. Cat, another power forward option that I'm getting to. at the high end, I think he's solid. Zion as well. Those are my main three that are pay ups is Giannis, Cat, and Zion. I like all three of them. And then one other guy that I really want to mention is Kristaps Porzingis. I think he's going to play good minutes here. 7,300's kind of a joke of a price, even though we have a lot of mispriced players. I think he's definitely in play as well.
Yeah, if you guys have watched our stream the past couple seasons, you know that I have a bias against Kristaps, but I'm interested today. And just in this, Hawks offense at 2 and 5%, the price is fine, so I'm okay with that today.
Yep.
Barry Jones, ace is going. Thank you. And Unicorn Love, OG's questionable. Yeah, I think I saw that earlier too. So let's make sure OG plays because if he's out, it's just going to push all the New York ownership up, and they're already the most owned team on the slate.
Seems bad.
Yeah, it seems so bad. Let's
The
actually
first
take a
game
look
of
at
the
that real.
slate.
Like, why are 5 New York players in the top 10 of ownership on DraftKings? Brunson, I get I get OG and McHale because of their pricing, but I we have how many pivots today? We have MPJ and then a Cat. I kind of get Cat too because I think the price is wrong, but I think the ownership is too high for a 12 gamer as well. So it's like Brunson's the guy that I'm comfortable with the ownership. The other guys, I'm not sure. And not even to mention Huck Porty, we have projected for 15% ownership now. The problem is he takes up our center spot and he doesn't really produce fantasy stats. So I don't know. I think I'm mostly just interested in Brunson, and I have Cat in my set too. And I have McHale. I have McHale in there, but I'm not at this 26 and 24.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at as well.
Let's knock out center, and then we'll go over a couple other like slate overviews. But at center, who have we not mentioned that you're interested in at center?
I do have some interest in Claxton. I think it's a pretty good matchup. Claxton 5,500 on DraftKings. Not 100% sure on his on FanDuel, but 6,100. A little harder to play, but I still think he's okay to play. Them those are he's my main value one. Him and Calc, which we already kind of talked about. And then at the high end, I'm pretty interested in getting to Embiid while we can. I think he's a pretty good play. Boston, they don't have Kristaps anymore. They kind of lost a lot of their center depth. Like he's going against Nemius Keita, Boucher, and whoever else they throw at him. So I think Embiid's a pretty solid play. Diabate, I do have some interest in as well. Jock Landale and AD, I think looks solid too.
Yeah, AD, this 9,700 and 20%. I don't know. My first reaction is it's a little bit like his price is probably a little bit low, but the ownership is slightly high. He's in my set though. I'm okay getting there. The one that I don't love up here is Miles Turner, but I never like Miles Turner. He's on a new team. Maybe things are different now, but I don't know. Something changed about him. We used to be able to count on him to get blocks and maybe a rebound or two, but like his rebound prop today is like 4.5, and he has a ceiling, yeah, but this 24 and 18%, I just think there's other options.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. We did get Embiid is expected to have his minutes limited, so I don't know what that means with Nick Nurse. That might mean 30 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, so we have Embiid at 29.3 minutes, and I like that sounds right to me, right? For a minutes limit to be at 29. He's 8,700 on DK, and he's, like the third guy in OF index, even at 29 minutes. Um, and for 200 more than Cat at a third of the ownership, what if Embiid plays potentially 32 minutes, 33 minutes, and we already know he's such a high fantasy point per minute guy. Boston's not the Boston they were last year. The 10-6 on FanDuel's tough, but Embiid seems like a really good GPP play.
Yeah, yeah, you can't tell me if he's at 29 minutes and they get into the final 5 minutes of the game and it's a close game that he's not just going to play. So I think he's a pretty good GPP play.
Wemby? How much Wemby are you getting to? The 5% on DK, I don't love the 10-9 on opening night, but they're going against Dallas, and I kind of like getting over that 5% on DK.
Yeah, it seems like a game where you could kind of see him play pretty solid minutes. And they're a team that's been ramped up in the preseason. He's actually played quite a bit. So I could see the minutes being pretty solid for Wimby. The only problem is he don't have power forward eligibility, so he's center only. Kind of takes up a lot, but I still think he's a pretty good play.
Yeah, we have Kevin in the chat, Landale or Cockbrenner for a GPP. So let's just take a look at overall value. And yep, you pick the number one and two DK values, Landale and Cockbrenner. Like they're so close. I wouldn't just use this zero point 0.4 DK value difference to say, yeah, Jock Landale's the better play. They're still essentially a coin flip. Maybe it's like 57 or 53-47 in Landale's favor. But he is coming in at half the ownership that Cockbrenner is. He's also $800 more expensive on DK, 200 more on FanDuel. So we have to consider that. But models telling us it's fine. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say Jock Landale's minutes are secure, but like Cockbrenner's are definitely not secure.
Yeah.
So I think Landale, given the model on both sides. FanDuel, it's a even wider gap. Clearly, Jock Landale. Is Jock Landale actually second best center value on FanDuel after Jalen Duren? We got Wendell Carter, Khalil Ware. You have anything about Khalil Ware?
No, I don't know if he's gonna play or not.
Because of injury or
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
he's questionable.
okay. Drew Eubanks was a guy that was showing up for me. Projected for 0% on DK at 5,200, but 3,900 on FanDuel projected for 3%. He's who I was projecting to start at center for Sacramento with Sabonis out. What about you?
Yeah, yeah. I assume they start Eubanks. He looks underpriced on FanDuel.
Yeah, and I just who plays minutes? Like again, it really sucks to give up the center position on FanDuel, especially for a guy named Drew Eubanks on a 12-game slate. But like this only adds up to 40 minutes. Who else is even can even play center? DeMar's not going to play center.
Um,
So
what's his name? I can't even
Renaud,
think of it right. Yeah,
Renaud,
Renaud.
the rookie. Okay, so maybe we have
Yeah,
the rookie projected for those last 7 minutes in there, which I guess that actually makes sense. But particularly on the night slate, I think this is something we really got to attack one of these guys because someone just has to be on the court for them.
yeah. I think this slate in general, I think Eubanks is fine because it's not like we have a lot of centers that we're dying to play as we do at other positions. So I think what you're giving up isn't as much, even though it's a big slate. That I do think he's in play. The only ones that you're kind of like Wimby, if he goes out there and goes for like 70, you're probably dead. But other than that, I think there's not a whole lot of high ceiling options.
Yeah, that's a good point because I mean we can play Giannis at center, Cat, AD, even Evan Mobley or Bam at center. Those guys all seem fine.
Yeah,
Any thoughts on Mobley? I actually didn't notice he's 18%. Has 18% projected ownership on FanDuel at 7,900. What do you think about that?
he's okay. Not someone I'm dying to get to or dying to get away from. I think if he's my last man in, he's fine.
I got him in 3 lineups on FanDuel, so I guess I'm under the field on Mobley. Model's telling us we can kind of get away from him though.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of similar plays. Like, we didn't mention Jaron Jackson either. I think he's a pretty good play too.
Yeah, I think I have a mental block on him right now because he's coming off injury, but they obviously don't care because they're just letting him run,
Yeah,
or they
they
did in
run him to the
preseason
ground.
anyway. Yeah, Miles Turner, like for overall OF index, Miles Turner is like the 25th ranked center today. I think we can just fade. And I try not to say stuff like that on stream because these guys almost always end up going off, especially if they're named Kristaps Porzingis. But it just the model's telling us we can get away from Miles Turner, and then this Rudy Gobert. I didn't even notice he's 20 and 10% because he's ranked so low in every metric.
That
Yeah,
can't
center,
be right.
yeah, center's tough. I know I'm playing a lot of Giannis, so I imagine Giannis will fit in the center spot. I'm going to get to some Embiid. I'm going to get to some Eubanks at value, Duran. Yeah, I'm very spread out at center. Actually, that's the position I'm most spread out at.
Yeah, I am too.
Got Jock Landale in there on DraftKings. Fade the early games possible. What are the early games, Smitty?
Got Cavs, Knicks, and Nets, Hornets, Heat, Magic. So there's three locking right at lock. I don't. I think there's plays I want to get to from not really the Cavs, but I think the Knicks have some plays that I at least want to have in my lineups. And same with Brooklyn. We like MPJ, and then Charlotte. I like Bridges, Miller, and then the center plays. But other than that, I mean, with Orlando and Miami, there's not a whole lot I'm dying to get to.
Yeah, Miami's tough. Maybe like I'm not expecting a weird starting lineup, but that game like Orlando, Miami is so unappealing. I'm looking at Paolo. Where's Paolo? He's 8,200 on DraftKings at 6%. I think that's worth taking some shots on. Remember, like he's going to be 10K by the end of the season, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, he should be.
Or at some point this season, he's going to be 10K. He's going to be at least 9K for most of the season. 8,200's incorrect. I know it's a slower game against the Heat. What's the total there?
I think sites also are struggling to project him with adding Bain, and then you have Tyus
Yeah.
Jones off the bench. Just kind of changes it up a little, but I think he might be under projected.
Yeah, I think Paolo seems like a pretty good shout. Franz Wagner at 1%. I mean, I'm always interested in a 1% Franz Wagner, maybe not tonight. And then Donovan Mitchell, I'm always interested at 1%. 5% at 8,600 on FanDuel when shooting guard is kind of unclear. I think that's great.
Yeah, in New York.
In New York, too. Dude, Donovan is putting up 50 tonight. Remember, there's no Darius Garland.
Yep. No Darius and no Hunter, which kind of took a lot of usage in the preseason. So he pretty like Mobley and Allen are good players, but they're not offensive players. So he pretty much has the offense to himself.
So I don't love the idea of like fading the studs in the early game. I'm okay if you want to get away from some of the value though, like this 26% McHale. If OG misses, then this is probably correct. But like OG and McHale, we can probably get away from and hope something opens later. Like Jalen Tyson is only projected for 9%. That's probably okay at 3,200. I don't know that we're going to get another 3,200 guy who starts later, assuming he does start. OG's in, so
Yep.
I feel like we can just get away from the Knicks guys because it's not that they don't have ceilings, but these ownerships imply that they're going like they have to almost have a ceiling game tonight. It's a huge slate. If you're playing smaller fields, then sure, but in large fields, it feels really bad to me to get close to this for OG and McHale. And like I've talked about it all show, they're for sure having good games now.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, we touched on Sacramento situation. I think Eubanks, assuming he's the starter, is just going to be like we don't even have to try to pivot to Saric. Maybe on the night slate we can consider it. Unicorn Love throughout that where 4,900 on FanDuel. Yeah, that would be a pretty interesting spot, especially if he's announced starting. We would like to swap onto him. Agbaji. We didn't mention Agbaji. It just seems a little deep of a play that I don't think we have to go there today. Did you feel differently?
No, he's not in my pool.
I just like
On DraftKings, it's a little different because like you have a free square of PJ Washington, so it's kind of hard to jam all these value plays.
right, right. Magic are starting who we expected. Jalen Suggs is starting. Wendell Carter at center. Okay. Uh, Joel Embiid. Yeah, so the model has Joel Embiid projected for 29 minutes, and that sounds like a minutes restriction to me. If he plays 2, 3 more minutes than this 29, he's going to look great. He already is like what the sixth overall play on the slate at 29 minutes against this Boston team. So I'm definitely okay taking the shots on DraftKings at 8,700.
Yep.
Turner role should be different in Milwaukee. He had to anchor the D, and oh, it's Nick. What's up, Nick? He'll be volatile, but have to imagine he shoots a lot more this season. Giannis' presence allows him. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't disagree. I think all that is definitely correct, but Miles Turner has to put up 25 points to pay off this price tag, 20 plus points to pay off this price tag, and I can't imagine that his prop line is anywhere close to 20 today. Like, not that we're using props to determine our DFS decisions, but just as an example, let me just look this up real quick. Miles Turner. I mean, he's projected for 14 and a half points, 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, with 2.5 block steals. We'll call it 3 block steals. Like that does not
Oh,
deserve 24% ownership at 6,700. I just if he wasn't owned, I'd be okay taking the shot. I just like center sucks, but there's a 12. There's 24 starting centers today to choose from. Did we get some news?
Calc is starting over Diabate.
All right, and now we got Cockbrenner starting at center. So it's not a super like it's not like Cogbrenner's just going to run out and play 30 minutes now because Diabate, I don't know if you guys remember, he had like a 2 week stretch where he was actually like the best defensive player in NBA history. And so if they have a real big need for him, but Brooklyn doesn't, present anyone that they have to put Diabate on the floor for. So Ryan Cockbrenner at 3,200 and 3,700, he's probably the best center value now, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think He's probably better.
About locking up those spots in the first game, like when we're getting, like, are we going to get a better $3,200 player than Kalkbrenner later? Maybe not.
Yeah, early in the season, I'm more willing to play these early games, especially the values. One thing I will say is like on FanDuel, he don't really stand out to me as much. Like I feel like you need a little bit more on this slate than he's probably going to do. But DraftKings at 3,200 looks really good.
James Harden or Jalen Johnson. Model has James Harden ahead of Jalen Johnson.
Johnson.
I prefer Johnson myself. Yeah, the model's saying James Harden. So, but I think, yeah, it's tough because, as we mentioned, like point guard's a little valuable on DraftKings today, but the shooting guard eligibility for James Harden on FanDuel is pretty good. They're both good plays.
Yep.
Wemby's power forward center on FanDuel. Yeah, the problem with Wemby is he's 11,800, and we don't have as many value plays over on FanDuel. If you want to get over the 1%, though, I mean, you could have like 5% in your portfolio and be way over the field.
Yeah, definitely a player you want to be overweight on.
Edgecombe, yeah, Edgecombe is one of our top values today in all formats. Where is good to go? All right, so Where is not starting though, so it's like he's a possibility. He probably comes in with very low ownership. Are we considering Jovic now? If I get him in a few, I feel like I don't mind.
Yeah, if he's in like a couple, it's whatever. He's not really a priority at all.
Yeah, 49 and 4,500 seems fine. Doesn't really change anything with any of the rest of these guys. Like they're all just, I think they're all deep shot GPP plays.
Yeah.
JJJ will get the hook after two quick fouls. Probably, yeah. Eubanks and no Saric. They started Eubanks in the last preseason game. I have to think they're going to start Eubanks for what
uh,
they need. He's got to be better.
Sarge will start at the 4, or he should.
Schroeder, Levine, DeMar, Saric, and Eubanks. Keegan Murray's out too.
Yeah.
Nick Clifford, there's a shout for the night slate. I'm playing him on the night slate for sure.
Yep.
Let's build a quick let's build a quick dummy. I almost forgot. We got to get out of here. So PJ Washington's in there, obviously. We'll plug in Cockbrenner at center. We'll put VJ Edgecombe since we've been talking about him. Who else do you want to get in there?
You got Calc already? Yeah.
Yeah,
Calc.
Cal.
Let's throw Giannis in there.
Let's get Giannis in here. Yep, power forward.
Cade.
Cade. Yep.
Perfect.
Cade. So Cade and Giannis. We got two pay ups, but we still have 6K per player, which is pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Sorted up by DK.
Yeah, let me just see who my highest owned are in my set. PJ 100%, VJ Edgecombe, Giannis, Ryan Kalkbrenner. It's my top 4 owned guys so far. Cade is close. Michael Porter Jr., we seem to like him as a GPP play.
Yeah, we could do that.
So these last 3 spots, you guys can probably just like mix and match your favorite plays. But these first 5 is a really solid, I think that's a really solid core. 55.50 per player. Who you got at guard and utility?
Guard. I don't know. You could go all the way down to Clayton.
Oh, let's try Clayton and see what that does.
Yeah, Dante's about that price too.
Yeah, so if we go Clayton, that leaves us 8,100 to get to. I don't think there's anyone. Yeah, we're not dying to play anyone in this range. Having paid down for Clayton. Let's just take a quick look at the DK values one more time. I mean, Trey Jones at 4K, I don't think we have to go there. We already have super low on plays in this lineup specifically. Jalen Tyson, wasn't he just announced in the starting lineup? Did I misread that?
Was he?
Yeah, Mitchell, Merrill, Tyson, Mobley, Allen. So I don't mind Tyson. I'm so curious what his ownership comes in at, because if it's higher than 9%, he's probably not a great play. But if it's around 9%, then he probably is. So let's plug him in and see if that does anything. It's going to be the same thing as Walter Clayton was.
Yeah, it is.
How far away are we from getting Embiid?
It's hard.
If we take Michael Porter out, it leaves us 5,900. We can get to
I like
tomorrow.
Matas.
Yeah, Matas Vizalas. Yeah. So lots we can do with these last 3 spots, guys. If you're playing small fields, like especially if it's like a 10-person contest, 15-person contest, I really don't think you have to pivot much from this. Like at least four of these five, if not just starting with these five, maybe you swap out Cade. But Cade's a top play on the model, so Giannis on DK, yeah, he's been questionable, but we're gonna assume he's in. Jalen Brown is in, so we still like Derek White, we still like Peyton Pritchard on FanDuel. Sadiq Bey or Najee Marshall, last man in. I'm gonna be honest, Jose. Can you rebuild?
I'd say
um,
Bay.
yeah, I think you'd say who? Bay.
Bay. Yeah, I have a little bit of Bay.
Okay, nice.
But that was before like all this Tyson and stuff. I haven't rebuilt yet.
Okay, yeah, cash staples. It's got to be these five, and then I have to think that Jalen Tyson might be in there now too for cash staples. Like Cade's a cash staple, right? Is he owned?
Probably not as owned as he should be.
Yeah, maybe
But
not Cade. So we'll take Cade out. I feel like these four are pretty safe for cash, right? So,
yeah.
fellas, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Jayhawk's in the Discord right now, giving another perspective on things. Instructions to join that are in the description below. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. But join the Discord. Join the Discord. Sorry, fellas. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and Smitty, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yep.